All right, let's dive into a topic that I think a lot of you are going to feel deep down in your bones, the idea of being an old soul. And listen, this isn't just some new agey spiritual concept. We're going to look at what psychology actually has to say about it.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever been in a room full of people your own age and just felt completely out of place? Kind of like a fly on the wall, even in your own life? It's this weird feeling, right? Like you're seeing the world through a lens that's, I don't know, maybe a few decades older than you really are. Well, if you're nodding along right now, I want you to know you're not just being quirky. Psychology actually points to this being a real thing. It's a sign that your brain might just be wired a little differently, that you've got this early emotional maturity that really truly sets you apart from the crowd.
To really get what it means to be an old soul, we've got to understand the psychological framework that's holding it all together. And there's one concept that just might explain everything. Okay, so here's the key idea. It's called split maturity. This often happens to kids who, for whatever reason, had to be the responsible one, the reliable one, way before their time. Essentially, your emotional awareness just hit the fast-forward button, developing way faster than your actual age. It's like you quietly outgrew your own childhood and stepped into a much more serious way of seeing the world. So how does this actually play out in your day-to-day life? Well, let's start with maybe the most common sign of all. You just can't stand small talk. And here's why. It's not about being rude or antisocial. It's that your mind is just wired to look for depth and meaning. That early responsibility basically trained your brain to cut through the fluff and focus on what's real. You're searching for conversations that have some weight to them. And when you can't find that, well, most social events can feel incredibly draining.
Okay, let's move on to our next two signs. Now, at first glance, these might seem like a total contradiction. They're all about that delicate dance between wanting deep, meaningful connections and needing to be completely alone.
So here's the thing about your connections. You have incredibly high standards. This doesn't mean you're antisocial. It means you're anti-shallow. Because you had to deal with real-world stuff so early, you just don't have the patience for superficial relationships. You're after those rare, genuine, soul-level bonds. And honestly, you'd rather be by yourself than surround yourself with people you don't truly connect with. And that leads directly to your need for solitude. But listen, this isn't about hiding from the world. For you, being alone it's functional, it's essential. It's how you recharge your batteries and make sense of everything. It's the time you need to fire up your brain's creative and problem-solving side, giving you the space to process all the complex stuff you've been dealing with your whole life.
Now, let's get into your inner world, because the next three signs are all about how you think, how you feel, and how you see yourself. Which, let's be real, is probably pretty different from how most of your peers see themselves.
And here we are, back at that idea of split maturity. This creates a really interesting paradox inside you. On the outside, you probably seem incredibly strong, capable, like you've got it all together. But on the inside, you might feel, a little emotionally unfulfilled. You had to be the rock for so long that you mastered strength before you ever really got the chance to learn how to be soft. Sign number 5 is huge. It's called having an internal locus of evaluation. Now, that sounds super academic, right? But all it really means is that your sense of worth comes from inside you, not from what other people think. You don't need the likes, you don't need the praise, you have your own internal scorecard. And that self-trust gives you this incredible, quiet sense of security. And sign number 6. Maybe you've been called an overthinker, but psychology has a better term for it: verbal reasoning. You know how you talk to yourself either out loud or just in your head to work through a problem? That's not you being neurotic. It's actually a really sophisticated tool you use to organize all the complex thoughts bouncing around in your mind. Okay, we've arrived at our final and maybe the most subtle sign of all. It's called guarded empathy. It's all about how you handle your amazing ability to feel what others are feeling without letting it completely burn you out. You're probably hyper-aware of other people's moods, their intentions. You can just sense it. But that same early responsibility also taught you a hard lesson. Caring that much, feeling that much, is absolutely exhausting. So over time, you've developed what we call guarded empathy. You protect your own peace, your own energy, like a fortress, and you are very selective about who gets to come inside. So let's just do a quick recap. A deep dislike for small talk, super high standards for your friendships, a real need for solitude, that split maturity paradox, an internal scorecard for your self-worth, the habit of talking to yourself to figure things out, and finally, that guarded empathy. Ringing any bells? Now, I get it. Recognizing all of this in yourself, it can feel a little isolating. It can feel like a heavy weight at times, knowing that you just experience the world differently than most people. But there is another way to look at all this.
And this is what I really want you to take away from our time together. Your mind isn't broken. It's not weird or flawed. It's just deep. You've basically traded a lot of surface-level stuff for an entire inner world of stability and reflection. And that's not a weakness. That is a quiet, profound strength.